Since the start of the reveals of set 11, everybody is anticipating how strong is a new Eva upgrade going to be. And it's finally here, and it might not be as what you expect. Stand up! Vanguard! Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to another Cardfight update, and before we dive into the new Brandgate Eva support, I want to first take our attention towards a brand new Keter Sanctuary promo, which is this grade 1 Sapient Owl, which is a pretty good support for Bastion, because if we take a look at the skills, we see continuous Vanguard Circle, Hand, and Trigger Zone. During your turn, if you have a Vanguard with Bastion in its card name, this unit gets grade +2 and power +2k, so it's a grade free 10k booster. And it also has the effect, although when the unit is placed in the Vanguard Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Bastion in its card name, put a grade free card from your drop into your soul, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets power +5k until the end of turn. If you put a card with Bastion in its card name for this cost, if you did not countercharge this turn, countercharge 1. So this is the perfect support card for the grade 4 Bastion build, because you need to remove a Bastion either from hand or from your soul every single turn to get the resetting effect, which means after the second grade 4 turn, you need to draw into more copies of Bastion in order to use the effect. But with this grade 1 Owl, you fix that problem because this basically substitutes as a copy of that card, but at the same time it also gives you extra counter charge options as well, so even more resources. So this is going to be an insanely good promo for Bastion, and hopefully we're going to get to the English side very fast, because the deck probably want to run this at 4 copies as soon as possible. But Bastion aside, you're here for Brandgate, and also of course mainly Eva, and let's dive into those two cards. And first off, I have a brand new Blitz order for Brandgate, which is kind of interesting, that could work with Eva, as we have Fluctuate Buster Bullets. And this Blitz order, grade 2 Blitz order, has the effect, choose up to 2 grade 2 or greater unit cards with different card names from your drop, come to the Guardian Circle, choose one of your units, and it gets power +5k until the end of battle. So in the low skill things, this is a 15k shield in a card. But if I remember correctly, the Upscadates for Eva have 10k shield. So this, combined with the grade 2 and grade 3 Upscadate, is probably somewhere in the ballpark of 25k shield, which is pretty good for one card. But another interesting thing is that this could work with cards that have specific effects that work if you put them into the Guardian Circle, or if they are placed in the Guardian Circle, so you can use those effects over and over again with this Blitz order. So on the low end of things, it's like a 15k shield, maybe a bit more depending on what you can put there, but on the high scale of things, it can be a massive shield unit for one card from hand that can also circumvent card restrict, or it allows you to reuse certain unplaced effects or guardian effects, thus make it a very versatile card that could be useful in certain builds that might come up in the future. Now, we do have a card that interact with this, because we've seen like this order package for every nation, and now we see the start of one for Brandgate, as we have this grade 2 Lady Fencer of Twin Stars, and her effects are Auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks, if there is a Blitz order in your drop, cost Soul +1, and this unit gets power +10k until the end of the battle, so a 20k attacker. But then also has the effect, Auto Vanguard Circle, at the end of the battle, this unit attacked a Vanguard, cost counter +1, and bind this unit, search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or greater Blitz order without regular speeds, review it, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. If there is a Blitz order in your drop, you may search for a set order instead. So this essentially searches for the Blitz order we just talked about, because I don't think Brandgate has a lot of Blitz orders to work with, so that's probably your most ideal target or generic target in that sense, which is honestly a very decent Blitz order to have, and if certain builds can abuse that, maybe this is a great way to search for that as well. And then of course Brandgate also has or set order strategies built into the nation, so in the case you already found one, maybe this could be another way to get to more set orders, which is another way to increase the consistency of your deck. So overall, a decent card, probably not as versatile or as strong as the other ones that we saw for the other nation, but I think it's not that bad to have as a thing for nation as a whole. Now, moving on to the actual dedicated Eva support, we start off with this grade 2, which is Upzarch Adorar, which has the effect, although when you put on the Guardian Circle, if you have a Vanguard with Eva in its card name, choose up to 1 one card with upscalate in its card name in your drop and call to the Guardian Circle or add it to your hand. If you add it to your hand, choose a card from your hand and discard it. So this is another way to recycle your upscalate after you lose them either by retire effects or you need to discard them or something. This is a great way to either get them as raw shield value, just like we saw with the Blitz Order, or grab them to hand so you can use them in combination with your Eva to have more consistent multi-tech pressure. So in that sense, a decent card, but if I'm gonna be honest, probably not a card you have room for or want to run, because you have other ways to recycle or refund your upscalates that doesn't force you to run another card that doesn't really do anything besides that. Because of course the Grade 1 Research Order allows you already to reuse those cards, which also then does way more things than just getting your upscalate back to your hand. And there is another reason why I feel like this card might not be as needed, and it has to do with the other card that was revealed in this set, which is of course the brand new Eva herself, which is Poison in Paradise Eva. And this Eva looks very similar to all the other new Glitter Grade 3s, because she has the effect, although when units placed by riding on Fountain of Knowledge Eva, search your deck for up to one research card, reveal it and add it to your hand, shuffle your deck and activate Persona Ride. But it also has the effect, although in Vanguard Circle, when the unit attacks, cost, bind a Fountain of Knowledge Eva from your soul, search your deck, hand or drop for up to one card with upscalate in its card name, call to the Vanguard Circle, and that unit and this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of turn. If you search your deck, shuffle your deck, and at the end of the turn, write the card bound for this cost as rest. So this sounds like a word-for-word copy of the original Eva, but there is a major difference here that is very obvious from the start. And that's the fact that this card is free. It doesn't cost you Counterblast or Soul Blast. You just use the effect, get the multi-tech, and get a bit more extra power because you give 2 units 5k power instead of only the Eva getting 5k power with the original one. And another big change here is that this Eva allows you to call them from the drop zone as well, so you don't have to have them in your deck or in your hand in order to get this multi-tech off. So this is a bit more consistent in later turns of the game once you run out of those resources. Now another major difference here is that this Eva doesn't have the extra plus option or search option with her act ability because that's absent of this effect. So you might not be as versatile as the original one, which allows you to potentially high roll into very important key pieces. But that said, this Eva does allow you to search for another research. Granted, by turn 4 that might not be as needed because you probably already have free research order that's your need, but in the case that you need to use your grade 1 in order to get upscalate or something else, thus maybe getting the soul and the resources for a particular skill, then you lose out on free research cards, and this is another way to get to that research for free, and it also filters your deck. So in the grand scheme of value wise, it's the exact same because both Eva +1, but this Eva is completely free, thus maybe being a bit better in terms of maybe damage and eye options or anything like that. Now the interesting thing about this Eva in contrast to the other ones is that this Eva might not be a direct upgrade or a direct replacement of the original Eva, unlike the other glitter cards that are like instantly you run the original one in the right line and 4 copies of the new one in the main deck and that's it because you want to write a new every single turn. This is not really the case for this Eva in my opinion, because this Eva feels more like a late game card and a finisher. Once you run out of resource or if you don't want to dedicate your resource in the Eva skill, you don't need to counter +1 to check the top X cards of your deck anymore. And you're probably gonna rely on the original Eva in the earlier turns, like turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, but once you enter like the latter turns of the game, you don't have any upscalates left anymore, everything is in drop zone or whatnot, maybe you run out of counterblast. This is a great option to then ride into that and then to go off. And of course this means you can now run more Persona Ride targets, because the main thing for Eva is you want the Persona Ride every single turn to make all your attacks matter. So you can run 4 copies of the original one and like 2 of this, maybe 3 of this, 3 or something like that. But I feel like the build is going to be a bit harder to make than the other Glitter Ride lines because of the way how Eva is going to function and how you potentially want to pilot it. And this also makes sense that in terms of upgrade level, it feels a bit more lackluster in comparison to the other Glitter Ride lines, because we all know Eva has been dominating the format to some extent. It's been very prevalent and it's getting counters here and there, but it's still a very strong deck, and the other ones were falling behind quite a lot. So they needed a lot of upgrades to make them more relevant, and Eva didn't need as much. And this is a nice balancing act where the other ones get a major upgrade, this get a small upgrade, but I still feel like Eva's probably a bit on top of the rest as of it yet. And that's honestly everything that I have to say about these cards. Like, most of the brand kit cards are kind of iffy. Like, the Blitz Order is kind of interesting, and I think there's a lot of application in the future. The other two cards, I don't think are that good enough to actually be seen play. Maybe unless you want to search the Blitz Order that consistently for certain interactions, but only time can tell. And the new Eva is 100% going to be played, but I'm not so sure if it's going to be a 4-off in the deck. Maybe like a 2-off or a 3-off, but definitely a nice upgrade and a good finishing play to just wrap out games more consistently, even if your resources are running low, as this card basically says, do everything for free, essentially. Not as good, potentially, but just get every value for free, which, honestly, free value is never a minus. But that said, that's basically all my thoughts on the cards. I want to know what you guys think of these cards. So hit me up in the comments down below what you think of this new Eva support, this new upgrade. Also, of course, don't forget the Bastion promo. If you're a Bastion fan, what are your thoughts on the promo? Do you think it's going to be a must-have for the deck, or do you think it's just a gimmicky card that might or might not see play? I'm very curious what your thoughts on those are. So hit me up in the comment section down below. As always, this video has been brought to you by lovely patrons over at patreon.com/insider. You guys are amazing. If you do want to support the channel or have something on the channel, you can simply go to patreon.com/insider and become a patron today. But with that said, I've been Mr. Time Leap, and I'll see you guys in the next one!